All set. Racing.
Big splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. Yeah. Rubbed up, just relaxing in the tub. Thinking everything was alright.
I can see Splashback zooming along the rail. Manal wider. The deepest runner was a bounding. Posting Girl led. Splashback through on the inside is after Posting Girl. 100 to go. Splashback. This is a rails hugging ride. It's a brilliant ride. It's a brilliant victory.
Reeling with the feeling, moving and a grooving, rocking and a rolling. Yeah.
And now on PG Podcast Network, it's time for the year-round carnival with Vince Accardi and your host, Racetrack Rolfie.
Bobby Darren leading us into year-round carnival. Splish Splash. It was Graham Begg and Jordan Childs winning the Group 1 on Saturday. The Tats Tiara with Splashback. And let me put this on the table as I say good morning to Vince Accardi from Daily Sectionals. Is G. Begg as good a target trainer as anyone just without the big numbers of a Waller and Seamar?
Well, the score says that. Absolutely. I mean, when he targets, and he targets very well. He has them like on point on the day, and even the reflection of, splish, splash, splashback. I mean, his profile's superb. I mean, he peaked at the right day.
Absolutely. So I'm watching the race, and I was on Chillery. I'm going, Chad, what are you doing handing up? And the horse badly over races. And I think they are walking, aren't they? Vince, tell me how fast they were going in the Tats Tiara over 1400.
Well, the leader, Poster Girl, 7 lengths below benchmark. The winner, Splashback, 11.5 lengths below benchmark. So, yeah, they're not going fast, Ralphie. They're crawling. Even in the middle, it wasn't like a blistering move in the middle. Yes, there was a good mid-race squeeze, but in terms of how many horses were above benchmark, there was only a handful of horses that actually broke benchmark in the mid-race, and it became this monumental sprint over the last 400 metres.
So this gets to a few different points. I'll just firstly put on the table just for a bit of self-interest. Chad, please don't go for all-important cover for the sake of it. If you're walking, there's no need to get cover. But back to Splashback, the winner, this is a fundamental we've spoken about so many times, Vince. The horse with the biggest kick in the race loves a slow tempo.
Yep, absolutely. And like everything, you're in the zone as well, Ralphie, in terms of how far are you off the leader. That plays such a big role, and you look at Splashback, 4.6 lengths off the leader. You're into the zone. You're in that 3 to 6 lengths golden zone with no tempo. So if you've got a sprint, you can use it.
Yes. So this is the point. So if in a typical race like this with a big field and there were fast horses in it, even allowing the back straight's a bit softer ground. They'd probably be going, benchmark at worst? So Splashback would have had to be going 6 lengths faster just to be being in that same position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at this horse's average, Splashback, its average is around 7.5 lengths below benchmark through the first section. So if you're running 3-4 lengths slower than what your average is, and that's your life history average, it just further accentuates how much coiled up energy you're going to have. And if you save ground, it's even bigger.
And not just saving ground, but then gets to another fundamental that we often speak about. The lanes don't move. No. And the rail went out 7 metres. It was clear as day, but to some jockeys, it wasn't clear as day because they were going out wide for better ground that wasn't better ground. And there were some smart riders on the day, starting with Jordan Childs.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Ralphie. It's just a natural scenario that you feel like that's where your horse is going to have the better opportunity. But the reality is, in terms of the bias of the track over the last few hundred metres, you're running into territory that's not an advantage to you with the rail setup.
So, Savage Vibes, nice tough horse, and she's had a good prep first time for Tony Golan. But I want to talk about Gerringong, the third horse. I get it with Nash because it was drawn wide, so if you get an opportunity to slot in, you take it every time. I'm just wondering, Vince, like it came here second up from first prep with Team Munn, ex-Waterhouse Bot. She's a horse who can produce speed. I almost reckon they'll run short. What's the numbers suggest?
This is with Gerringong?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at that tempo early, 11.2 lengths below benchmark, from that perspective, you've got it going pretty good in terms of how you're travelling. It's much softer than what you're going speed-wise first up. Sometimes what happens, though, unfortunately, when you're lacking some fitness, like what you touched on, and you have to produce that squeeze, which was a 10.5 length, a 10.7 length squeeze, Ralphie, a new PB for the horse, that can dull your overall finish. Now, the finish was fair, 4.7 lengths above benchmark, last 400 metres, but it's unlikely that horse would have been able to squeeze any more than it did because it's a new PB by a good couple of lengths. It's going to be an improver off that run for sure, Ralphie. But of course, like lots of trainers, they want to try and get their horses winning on the day. This is what happens. Maybe if they went faster, it probably wouldn't have helped it as much either, Ralphie.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not criticising. I'm just sort of saying about the race shape. And I don't know if there's another race for it soon, but if there is, this is one of the horses I want to be on for the race because it was grand final for a number of these horses. Anything else we should take from the race before we move on? I suppose Aha was and I was mentioned this on Friday, this was a horse who could elevate. And I think given a profile with Clinton McDonald, this was a horse who Chris Waller will be winning races with.
Yeah, it was a good run, Ralphie. 9.6 lengths below benchmark early. Good move in the middle. Almost a 10-length mid-race squeeze. Didn't quite have the finish like some of the other horses, a 1.8 overall last 400 metres, and that's probably what beat the horse on the day. It just had a few horses that had a bigger kick over the last few hundred metres, but still, performance was sound. You'd look at a horse like that and say, a win's coming. It's just where and when.
Last race, Healy Stakes, was actually a stronger race on the figures than the Group 1, which is, again, underlining the importance of one of your fundamentals is not to put imaginary figures on races just because someone else calls it a Group 1 or a Group 3, which is the case here. And Yellow Brick's a good horse, and a good horse got a good ride too, didn't it, from Tommy Berry?
He really did. And again, he's another horse that returned first up with a great performance, 1.4 lengths above benchmark, and then on the weekends come in and run 1.1 above. What I really appreciated about this horse's performance here was the speed through the first section, 6 lengths below benchmark. Pretty cruisy for this horse because this horse has been running in races where there's been a lot more tempo, but that mid-race going 5 lengths above, I just felt that was like a big effort for this horse, and no surprise the way that the rider rode it. This is probably what helped win the race, because from that point onwards, over the last 400 metres, if you look at those micro splits, you can see de-acceleration. 6 to the 4, 3.1 above, 4 to the 2.9, last 200 benchmark. That was the winning move, Ralphie. If he had waited another 150 metres or 200 metres to probably, explode the horse, it might have been a different outcome. But I felt he timed it to perfection.
Yeah, and sort of did Nash because he just got beaten, but he copped a suspension on the way through as well for causing decent interference on Payline, who missed the start previous outing. This time he was cleanly away, ran about his number. Were you with Pirelli at the 1x4?
I did, Ralphie. Yeah, I did, and it was probably a little bit of a saving grace for me because I had a couple of spoilers as well. But this run certainly got me some redemption back. Very, very good price. It was. There was plenty of mid-threes around, so that was probably a bit of a surprise that it was so good a price for a place. Performance-wise, I don't know. I probably still expected more, but then when I look at what the winner did, and even Payline to a certain extent, he probably ended up where you needed to end up.
Well, if someone said to you it's going to be fifth performer on the day, you wouldn't have backed off, would you?
No.
Yeah, so a little hit and run here. They went back, didn't work out for it, but I think Michael Friedman will find a race for Give Me the Beat, boys.
Yeah, well, this horse said that that first section was the spoiler, wasn't it, Ralph?
Yes.
9.3 lengths below benchmark. Pretty hard when you have to put in a 13.9 length mid-race squeeze, 6th biggest of the entire day. It does make it pretty tough, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's probably going to be a strong race, and I don't want to not give our flowers in race 7 in the Tats Mile. They were two proper horses there for different reasons. But Sun God, we stamped him all over it. And Sizzlers, when he's first up win at Scone, said, "You're going to a next level." War Eternal beat at last start, and what a well-named horse War Eternal is. He goes to war every time, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was a fantastic race between both horses. Sun God ran well, didn't quite live up to what it did first up, Ralphie, so 0.8 above. So didn't quite deliver in terms of overall performances. And War Eternal as well, Ralphie, a 0.1 above. So a benchmark performance wins you the race. Didn't also match up to what it did a few starts prior to that. So a number of things were probably on point in terms of where they were heading or trending in their campaigns. But they were the better horses, weren't they, in the race?
Yeah, absolutely. And just they've got to turn up on the day, don't they? So Future History, was just tailed off, and that's the trial again in the Stayers race there. And so, but one of the things that of note, we could have got a Royal Supremacy type situation, but Nash wanted to roll along, and that actually suited the horse, but he just didn't turn up on the day. So both Asterix and Pounding have ran well, and I think they'll still pick up staying races.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointment in my view. Sometimes I try and understand, how does it happen? Why does it happen? Was it the speed? I mean, small field. I was getting cold on the race, Ralphie, as we got closer to it, and for the wrong reason, by the way. My rationale in my head was that I just feel that they're just going to go like hurdle speed. Well, they didn't do that.
No.
They went a lot quicker. So was that the undoing, going 1.8 lengths below benchmark? I personally, I was disappointed with Future History's performance on a personal level.
No, the horse wasn't right on the day. Yeah, it's pulled up with an issue, so that happens.
Minus 15.5 last 400 tells it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two old boys fought that out. And I just want to go back to a fundamental in race 5. And this is part of the reason why we compare notes and do a lot of work on the Friday and then regroup again, because that mare's race had some quality horses in it and Panito and Hyperbolic. But the more you dug into it, the more you had to say, hang on, these two favourites have both got big queries about them, and this says avoid the race.
Yeah, and so important, particularly when, a lot of us like betting on races, right? I mean, that's why I'd like to think that's one of the reasons why we do what we do. Might not be all the reasons. Some people buy horses and that they just want to watch their horses go around and collect the prize money, right?
Yep.
But yeah, this was a situation exactly that, Ralphie. Had to have a lot of caution around it. And then you look at the race itself. The tempo really for the 2100 metres for these horses, 5.3 lengths below benchmark, the lead speed, and winning the race. This is Zalika. Panito going 9.9 lengths below benchmark. Not a pace that you would say is going to be detrimental to you, but where you are in your cycle and your form does make a big difference. And you do have to watch those things. And sometimes this is why the best horse doesn't always win a race, and you wonder why, what happened. It's just the cycle. It happens.
And Hyperbolic was a distance query going into the race, so that was the other thing. So Zalika's he must be a tough horse. he's bought that off Henry Dwyer, and it's been racing up since January. Since January the filly. So good effort there, but a very there were clearly horses on the day that didn't turn up. Let's have a look at. There's one feature race there in New South Wales, the McKell Cup over in race 8. Now, just before we do. Now, everyone else gives themselves a pat on the back. We're going to right now, because this was our members' chat last week about Zoo Fame. It's called Zoo Fame. I put it in Sizzler's Magic Millions Day, January 17. This is what I wrote about it. Minus 0.8 lengths below benchmark, 15th of the day. First up, second career start now gelded. Produced a run that says he'll be winning very shortly. Minus 6.9 at the 800, 4.5 lengths from lead before it's solid near 10 length squeeze, going 2.9 in the mid-race. Increasing speed home, 6.6 last 400. Ran the second best last 600 on Magic Millions Day and started $1.40 when beaten favourite on debut at Bathurst. Clearly stronger, more focused horse this time in. Top 15 on the iconic Gold Coast Day is a further sign of ability. Now, spelled from there. He's trialled twice. He won his Hawkesbury trial, but his lead-in trial at Randwick on the 12th of June impressed me. What did it say to you? What's the numbers say to you from that trial?
Okay, well, the good part is this. Number one, I love the fact that it's a 1,050-metre trial. Best of the morning, which is also really strong indicator, 2.3 lengths below. So we've got a first split time, which I can count, all in as genuine, 4.5 below, 1.3 above between the 8 and the 4. And then I like to look at those micro splits. The indicators are the horse sort of topped out at between the 8 and the 6 and then coasted pretty much over the last 600 metres, giving a pretty clear signal that from this trial, you can have an expectation the horse can improve anywhere between half length on the absolute low, somewhere around 1 to 1.5 on the high. So that brings it up near benchmark. So what's the distance that it's racing at Warwick Farm?
1,100.
And okay, is that an early race, is it?
Race 3, yep.
Race 3, okay, 1,100. That's very good, Ralphie. 1,100 metres. So I'm just looking at what's required. Oh, geez, where'd you find this? Jeez. You're looking at a benchmark need of around 7 lengths below benchmark. You'll get pretty excited. Is it a price?
Well, it's been back 460 into 420 because the Price Kent horse Crossways that's on debut has trialled well leading into it. So that's the favourite. So yeah, you'll be getting, to use your phrase, Vince, you'll be getting a place on side Price.
Yeah, well, you'd be pretty excited. I mean, there's no way the horse is going to turn into that trial flat either. The horse is going to be ready to go.
And our member Elias has picked it up. Good stuff for Zoo Fame. It was backed off the map, Vince. It was never, ever, ever going to get beaten on Wednesday.
Yeah, what price did it pay in the end?
Well, when, as you heard on the audio, it was $4.40 when we were having a chat. Pre-race, $2.25 into $1.90. And what a good.
Yeah, wow. So is this something that, like the power of the trials? I mean, I've been watching the way you've been pulling them apart over the last few months. You found some pearlers, and yeah, $4.40 into that price. That's all the ones that got the better price. They would have been absolutely smiling. And the trials, especially in New South Wales, Ralphie, I just feel like out of all the trials that I see, this is the place that if you understand them, it is worth a small fortune to you.
Well, the thing is, you've got markers that are there properly, and it's done professionally, unlike the jump out situation in Victoria.
Oh, just for the sake of a little bit of money. That's all it is, isn't it? A little bit of money. You don't want to spend it.
It equates to confidence, doesn't it? And isn't this the idea of the caper, to get people involved?
Well, yeah, you're right, Ralph. And what it does is it can make a big difference as well for how trainers prepare their horses to, have every opportunity to race. I mean, that's the perfect classic case of what you just said now with that horse. Give it that hit out, bang, let's go and find a race, and let's get some money. Now, imagine if you didn't have that option. You'll be going to the races probably half run short.
Yep. It assists everyone in that situation. I want to ask you also, because I ended up doing a newsletter about it, that I called it everyone's opinions better than your opinions when they agree with you. Now, that sounds contradictory, but I'll say it from this angle. I liked it when it was 440, and then when I dug deep in the race, I thought, and then I saw all the market support for it. I really, really liked it. In other words, the wisdom of crowds type of thing. How do you change your mindset when you see, you've got a feeling about a horse, and then the market comes with it as well?
And I want to back it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure I've got the 130 minimum.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's all I'm interested in. Don't care about nothing else. Can I be first to get that 130? It's really that's it. That's the lockout for me.
I suppose I'll say, let's assume you'll get 130. No, this isn't about Zoo Fame specifically, but just in general. If a horse is sort of, in that sort of $1.50 zone for the place, and say, I don't know, say $2.80 for the sake of a number, and it comes into $1.40 and $2.50. Does that change your approach in that you're happier that there's market support, or you don't care, you're just in your own island?
No, I don't generally care. But I'm a little bit of a contradiction here. I do care to a certain point. Number one, who's the stable?
Yes.
That's important to me. Like, who is it? If it's a no-name stable, that's one thing. And then it depends on the form cycle. Now, let's say it was going in the opposite direction. if I'm confident it's the right stable, the horse in the right form, so I don't care. I will still be backing it with the same level of confidence. Now, if it's tightening and it's the right stable, then you sometimes can ask yourself, is it worthy of an upgrade? I generally don't do that, but I do ask myself the question, should I be having more on? So, yeah, so potentially from that perspective, I do get a little bit more bullish if it's the right stable and I feel that all the markers are on point. And let's say I've marked it as a 1x4, am I asking myself, am I a bit light here? Should it be a 2x8? Does my budget allow me to increase my bet, depending on what else I've got planned? So sometimes I can be influenced that way. And mind you, if it's an unknown stable and we get the opposite action, and let's say the drift is marginal, not heavy, but it's gone from $2.80 now out to $4, for instance, I also sometimes consider myself, maybe something's not right. Perhaps I should decrease my bet, but not stay away.
Yep.
Still back myself in.
And sometimes from a small stable, you'll get a bonus because the big teams don't want to be with it.
Yeah, and if it's a small stable and it's unfashionable, then I'm going to be less likely to worry about the drift.
All right, a couple of bits of feedback. Stephen said on Wednesday, thanks, Ralphie. That was 5 minutes well spent. He got $2.70, so well done there.
Wow,
Stuart,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Stuart said many thanks, matey. Well done. And Elias has blended in with this week's podcast question, and he said, good stuff with Zusame. I love the answer to my last question. Oh, that was for a couple of weeks back. This week, God's window, so let's go to Rosehill.
Yep.
I want to know why Kieran rode him like he did. In hindsight, wonderful thing. Should he have been more aggressive and look for a forward position? Were the leaders going too quick? I know they went slow, but would it have been better if it would have been better if the tempo was faster for him and a good speed? So this is the feature race on Saturday, which was race 8 on the program here. And God's window, what we had was pretty much, Vince, another it was like a Royal Supremacy without the headlines.
I mean, the hurdles were out, weren't they? 22
Absolutely.
lengths below benchmark lead speed.
Yep.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So that's 100%. If you look at the whole day, with the exception of race 10, all races to the 800 were below benchmark, the average was about 3 lengths below benchmark, which is, okay, that's about right. And here you are, 22. So you know this is 100% deliberate. Everybody's wanting to say, let's go at that pace. And it was a hurdle speed. So this dramatically changed so many factors, and unfortunately that's the hard part to work out. It's not always that easy to understand. Are they going to crawl? Now, mind you, when I say Glory Days is going 22.5 lengths or 22 lengths below benchmark, what about the other horses? I mean, God's Window is going 30 lengths below benchmark.
Warnable.
Okay, it's huge. I mean, the squeeze is phenomenal. It's what is it?
Yeah.
It's more than a 5-second squeeze between the 8 and the 4. What do you reckon you're going to have left? It's crazy. Now, the reality is you could have easily been 2-3 lengths closer. And then all of a sudden, it's a different race for your horse. Because if you look at the MPS margin says the horse wins.
Yes.
But positioning running prevents that from happening. You're still giving him an 8-length head start, and then you're going to put this monumental squeeze in the middle. Because I mean, Glory Days' mid-race squeeze was only 19.9, Ralphie. That's the advantage of having an 8-length advantage and using no fuel, and then you don't have to have anywhere near the same squeeze, because it's the squeeze that puts all the lactic in your legs, especially when it's big, and it was.
And sometimes you can produce flatness next start if they back up, because it was just such a big effort.
Absolutely.
Time will tell. All right, and just to finish with, no point talking about actual horses at Caulfield, because as in performances, there weren't any of decent level. But there's two ways I want to look at this track and ask you through your numbers here, Vince. Is one, Caulfield on Saturday was put up as an S7. It was a complete mess 4 weeks earlier, and they got a bit of a bonus The rain didn't touch it in the week leading up to it. So firstly, we always look at that section, which to me is the giveaway of Caulfield, is that 600 to 400. It's so clear in the helicopter in your numbers, and if you get the IVR report if you get Sizzlers. And it's just been so bad recently. Whereas on Saturday, it wasn't too bad. And that tells me, you know what was left in the shed? The hoses, thankfully, finally.
Yeah. And I feel good rail placement as well.
Yes, I'm going to get to that. Absolutely. Yep. So is that a reality for you as far as how you saw the track improve?
Yeah, absolutely, because there's a couple of things that you can look at. If you look at that first section to the 800, there was 2 races, in my view, which were genuinely tactically slowly driven. If you eliminate that, that's race 3 and 4. If you eliminate those 2 races, what you have is to the 800, about 2.8 lengths below benchmark. And then if you look between the 6 and the 400, and you combine that average, right, across the 2, you've got about 1 length below average, which is fantastic. And this is further franking what you said about maybe something different's happened with the hoses. And it's very visible in the intel, because the reality is if that didn't happen, you probably would see that average between the 6 and combining the 4 would have been something like -3 or 4.
So I thought the track played absolutely perfectly. And this is important when looking at your race speed profile Saturday morning. So you're not being a Monday's expert here. Caulfield races Saturday with the rail out 3 metres, a fresh reset from true last meeting, shifts the track from its fairest, closer-friendly setup, 3 to 5 bracket, the venue's strongest on-pace configuration. Now, my request always is no surprises, and that's where Caulfield's let us down recently. I thought on Saturday, you read that and you go, right, mindset is on-pace advantage, and where just about all the winners come from.
Well, that's right. That's pretty much where they all came from, Ralphie. They were all pretty much stalking the leader, quarter of a length to a couple of lengths. Perfect, absolutely how you want it. And you've got a good strip that you can work with. So if your horse is in the right spot, you're not burning a lot of fuel early, you're going to have every chance late. Because if you look at this, that's the other big plus. You look at the ground over the last 200 metres, beautiful, bang on benchmark. You can't get much better than that at this time of the year.
No. So then the flip side is, because I want to be positive when it's there and give when it's there, but I'm looking at some of these raw figures. And let's even say Coeur Volant in race 8. So we've got some proper off-season horses. So, on Big Swingers, A Beauty, Heel Rip, LOU, Road Cone, they're all in the zone. And the raw times there, -12.8 further. Now, you've obviously adjusted them for the IVR, and you can see that if you get Sizzlers. But I just think that says that, dear me, I'm still worried that if rain hits this track, that it could really go to dust because as I said, they for the middle of winter they had a pretty good week weather-wise last time.
They did, and this is always the hard part, Ralphie. This is an outdoor sport. These things are going to happen. They're just going to happen. Yep. And you've got to do your best to try and navigate through that. And I'm a big believer, when you have this situation happening through wintertime, this is weather.
Yep.
The power in your decision-making of rail placement is so important, because what generally happens is this, Ralphie. This is what generally happens. They look at the past, what they've done, and they just repeat, rinse and repeat. Not actually looking at intel. Now, mind you, pretty sure the Caulfield boys did look at intel.
Yep.
Pretty deeply, and they made a decision to change, because that 3 metre placement hasn't had that happen that often in the last few years. Because they typically go out 4 or more. So doing that body of work and really thinking through that process makes a massive difference, especially in the wintertime. So now, when they have their next meeting, when's their next meeting?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's going to be very important again. Where's the rail placement? What are they going to do? Are they going to go to the true? Probably staying in the 3 isn't right.
Yep.
And going out, let's say, to 4 metres might not be right either. They might have to go out a lot wider. But here's the challenge. Once you start going out wider, you end up in a situation where you may not be able to attract as many horses. on the day, and that's important. They want to get as many horses running as possible on the day, and typically, if you can get over 100 horses running, a greater than an average of say 8.9 horses per race, that's actually good for betting turnover. So,
well, it is when punters are confident. It is when punters are confident at the moment. I think smart punters are still very wary of Caulfield.
And they will be. So now it depends what they're going to do. I'll be very interested to see what they do next. I always refer back. Belmont don't care. Ascot don't care. Yeah, they don't care in WA. They'll just say, right, we're going out 12-15. Yeah. They slice the track in half virtually, Ralphie.
Yeah.
What happens is, as crazy as it sounds, all horses get their chances.
Because there's not individual lanes.
Yep. Because if you then say, no, I'm only going out 6, or I'm going out 3, you can be rest assured those inside runners have got no hope.
You just reminded me, I got another email, I'll just say from W, and you have been invaluable over the last 8 weeks as I haven't had a bet apart from a quaddie or two, in the summary being poor quality stock, no interest, etc., etc. Your and Vince's philosophy that not backing a loser is as good as backing a winner is proving very astute. Vince, can I remind people, we have no affiliation with corporate bookmakers, and we are here because we have members supported, and that is always our philosophy. We don't urge people to be involved just for the sake of it.
No, and it's so important, Ralphie, that when you talk about that, especially for a mindset as well, because that actually is where it does the most damage, is when you just punt up, and sometimes you get cornered or snookered, and this is why I love the fact that we don't have this scenario with the corporate bookmakers, because the reality is, if you look at the history and you really examine very carefully the movement of bookies and all that, and how the majority always talk about, but I don't think it's value for your money, right? The minute you move away from that, right, because the prices of a horse is short, a lot of people then go on the second and third chances. What that does is that diminishes the percentages of your chances of winning and increases the bookmaker's outcome. That's what they want. They actually want that, right, to you to battle against yourself and you move away from your top selection. And this is why, if you can get it in your mind and you can be stoic enough to say, I'm not betting. I'm just going to pass the race because there's another race coming. There's that many races. There's unlimited races, Ralphie. It really is. And if you can just control your thoughts and just yourself, you actually end up doing a lot better. You do a lot better. And I always say, if you can't help your urge, and you absolutely, cull your bet size right down. Because that's the beginning of you becoming a lot more disciplined for yourself.
All right, we'll leave it there. We've got, I don't like doing members bonuses for the sake of it, particularly at this time of year, but when we can find one, we'll talk about it. We did last week, and hopefully I've found another trial. Just one will be part of the members bonus, and if you want to be part of our membership and support the fact that we are called Bookmaker ad-free, just click through the links on my website, racetrackralphie.com.au. All of Vince Accardi's work is via dailysectionals.com.au, including his race speed profiles each and every Saturday. Thanks for listening to Year Round Carnival.